final day of week 2 here in the LEC 2023 Summer Split, live from Berlin, Germany, where it's definitely not all sunshine and rainbows right now. As you can see, our players have brought in the storms with them. It was quite amusing, I have to say, backstage, seeing all the players being hair dried and sorted out by our incredible hair and makeup team. I'm Frankie, I'm joined by Golborg and Ender. You both look incredibly dry to me.
Yeah, we got in before the rain.
Yeah,
so.
It was nice sunshine when we got in, 30 degrees. I was having lunch in the sun. It was
I don't know what
amazing.
happened.
Yeah, weather. Crazy.
Weather.
Do you not
it's
tan?
crazy.
Do I not tan? Yeah, I'm from Denmark. Look at me. I'm whiter than a sheet. Like, come on. Like,
You're not used to eating in the
I'm
sun.
staying inside. I'm a gamer. Come on.
We need to spray you with some sun lotion. I don't want you getting burnt before next weekend. Now, let's take a look at the standings because we've got no teams undefeated anymore in summer. Fnatic, G2 and Mad are at the top though, so it feels like old times, Ender.
It's old times, except Koi. If Koi were up there in the top 4, then it would be like a perfect snapshot of, you know, the last like 5 years of LEC almost. But yeah, I mean, things have sorted themselves out. Fnatic are off to an absolutely fantastic start.
Yeah, I think they've been looking really explosive. Mad Lions have had to come back a bit, but in the game they had against each other, everyone is just performing. And I think Oscar as well, I said this yesterday, I have to say it again, but from going to be the rookie that kind of struggled just staying in the game, everyone was abusing Oscar in the top lane. They were like, let's gank him, let's get leads from him, and now he's actually able to take charge for himself and get leads to make, you know, the sick moments we saw just against the game.
It's been like a permanent upward trajectory, because I think Oscar's like first week on the LEC, like backlash, like dreadful. The next week was like, okay, you see some moments, then it started getting there, and now he has consistently been a strong performer. That said, I feel like every top laner that's gotten Cassante this split has been a top performer. So maybe we need to stop letting that one go through.
Take it with a grain of salt, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's got 100% B rating, except just P at the moment. Like, everyone's picking him, no one's banning him. I don't know why, but I'm not the expert. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But right now, we should talk about XL's rise from the dead in a chaotic game versus BDS. They look like they're at least building some momentum.
Yeah, you know, we're starting out with the bad parts of that game because the early game actually went quite well for XL. They managed to just have a good team composition that they came in with on Saturday too, where it's just a Seer in the mid lane to keep that prio, the bot lane with prio too, and Peach just doing an overall job at getting these early objectives. And then came the late game, and that's when the game became a bit tricky, a bit messy, and they almost lost it. It pretty much came down to 2 flips in a row.
Look, Adam had some crazy moves on the Cassante, which definitely kept BDS in the running. But all things considered, I think the team fighting came back together for XL. I think Peach's Maokai had a really big impact throughout the game, especially that ultimate, creating some zoning, making sure there was space for the backline to pummel away, because that's really where the war was.
Yeah, I think Peach is going to be an interesting person just to track as well, just due to the fact that on Maokai he looked phenomenal, not just in the team fighting, but he's very intelligent with the early pathing, really good at invading enemy raptors on spawn too, and just gaining advantages isolated against the enemy jungler. But yeah, XL off to a good start, but let's see what happens in the coming weeks as well, right?
Let's see if they manage to get the same draft again today, because that seems to be working for them, but I guess other teams will be keen to disrupt that. It has, though, been a roller coaster of a summer split so far. We have lots of comebacks, some throws, and I wanted to put these experts' memory to the test. So,
okay.
Are you handshaking? Are you trying to be nice
for the roller coaster.
You're buckling him up.
Always press too hard as well. You know what I mean?
Well, it's better than you going flying.
And you've got to be this tall to ride the roller coaster. So I'm afraid he's going to have to stay on solid ground for this one, because you guys are going to get some gold graphs up on screen, and you need to tell me which game this was and who won.
And
not hard
who won?
at all, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, sure.
That should be easy, though. You should remember who won out of these different matches.
That's actually true. Why are we thinking that's
We've only had like 25 games so far this summer. Okay. The first graph. If you do need a hint, let me know.
Okay, now this right here could, technically speaking, be the first one we just saw with XL, because it's a little bit of lead. It goes a bit back and forth. They then get ahead. They then fall behind, and they then come kind of back. But they also had 2 Barons.
No, but I feel like they would have ended the game with more gold for sure. This is way too big of a throw.
Yeah.
Do you need a hint?
I'm gonna guess
this could be G2 as well. No, not no, that's 2.
It's not gonna be the SK game from yesterday, because there's too much of a lead. I need a hint, please.
First hint: blue team got Ocean Soul.
It has to be the XL one.
Sure.
It has to be the XL one.
I don't know.
I'm going to give you one more hint because you're wrong.
You're wrong.
But
There was a Nocturne in the game.
Oh, Vitality is the bow game.
Yeah. From yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who did they play against?
Astralis.
Astralis, yeah.
There we go. I mean, I kind of gave you an even bigger hint there, yes.
Love
So,
it. Yeah,
and,
nailed it.
and who won, you guys?
This one was interesting as well, just due to the fact that in general the game was so even until it wasn't, and I really felt like Vitality as well should have gotten bigger leads in comparison to the enemy draft. Like, it was so hard to play Viego in the early game, so hard to actually get the Yasuo snowballing because you needed to wait for the late game when you can actually group around the Gragas, which they had put top lane. So yeah, they came back in later team fights, but overall stale game that went really back and forth, and more than I remember from that goal graph right
Yeah,
there.
I feel like I didn't see too much from the Nocturne, especially later on. So.
Well, that's what he does.
Let's yeah. Okay, before I get paranoid, let's take a look at goal graph number 2, please. End time
Okay, big
33,
throw. Oh, this is
35.
the SK game for sure.
Who were they playing?
That team from yesterday,
XL.
XL.
No, SK played against G2 yesterday.
G2, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah? You're absolutely right.
It's just a monster throw.
Yeah.
Because I can see every single time an individual player got picked off. It just went down and down and down.
Yeah, it's so hard to believe about G2 managing to take this one.
Cataclysmic throw I've ever seen. That teleport was something.
And he ain't talking Jarvan.
Irrelevant had another throw up on the top side. Certus got picked out one big time in a team fight. And then, of course, there was the bot lane one, too, where Exakick stepped forward wall marked by the Braum passive. I was in shock watching that game, I'll be honest. I'm glad I wasn't here because I would have said some things that could have got me fired.
Yeah, I know. That game was a bit disastrous.
A bit.
They should have, realistically speaking, never won that game. They do come back through some nice pickups, but also those pickups were kind of gifted by SK more than it's really G2 being able to come back. I just think they were happy they had a Cockmore in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final one. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ready, check.
Bring on the graph!
Whoa.
Okay, so that could be the one.
Heretics Day 1? Because this is Heretics Day 1 made a colossal throw that brought it back to even.
That was
and
Heretics,
then
Vitality, but that lead got bigger for Vitality, didn't it? When they came back into it.
I don't think so, because Heretics ended up winning anyways. I think it just evened out. That's my guess.
Do you want a hint?
I'm wrong?
Go on. Yeah, you're definitely wrong if they're giving us a
Losing
hint.
team got an Elder Drake.
Well, then it's for sure the XL BDS one.
You are correct. Who won?
Oh, I mean, XL.
Yeah. I was told to ask you who won, okay?
Yeah, I mean, we just saw it earlier as well. Elder Drake getting a bit flip-flopped, and we were speaking to, well, both Orwamne in the interview, maybe complaining that they had a bit too many flips, and I can see why. They have a lot of inhibitors, or even before this, where they actually pick it up. Mid lane pushing in on the first Elder Drake that they got stolen from them, and they could have set it themselves a bit more up for success in terms of just not flipping it while the fight was there, but in the end, they got away with it.
Yeah, Odo had some slightly harsh words for his backline. And hopefully, though, he'll have some positive words for them today if they win. Right now, though, we've got to check in with Trouble because she's standing by with Team Heretics head coach, Peter. Dun, dun, dun!
Thank you very much, Frankie. I'm indeed joined here by Peter Dunn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You guys looked absolutely amazing in week 1. What was the secret behind your preparation?
So to be honest, I think compared to a lot of the other LEC teams, we knew we were making changes quite early. So we've been boot camping for quite a long time. I think we've been boot camping 4 weeks before the season started. So we had a lot of good ideas coming in. I think the team's gelling quite well. You can see it in the interviews and, you know, just how they interact with each other. So yeah, so it was a good week last week.
They do indeed seem very cheery, and it seems like the team atmosphere is really, really good. Now, of course, with only 3 weeks before we jump into the best of series, it's all or nothing, right? You guys are coming into the second week, 0 and 2. What are you actively working on from the last 2 games that you just had?
So I don't think we need to change too much. I'll be honest, the game yesterday against Koi was an off day. Like I don't think I've seen us play that poorly. In scrims or on stage for quite a long time. I think the XL game is a little bit, I think it was a bit of a draft gap. I think that's on me as a coach.
Okay.
But I think that we just need to be a little bit more confident in our calls, and I think we were just second guessing ourselves too much against Koi.
All right, so a little bit more confidence. And when it comes to The state of the league. I've had a lot of players say the word disgusting. Whichever team is like better on the day will win. What do you think of the state of the league right now?
So to be honest, I think that we've just had a really long break for MSI, and I think it's natural that teams will come in quite rusty. You see a lot of roster changes. You see a lot of things which will make things look rough. I think almost every region looks rough after the MSI break, and I think that come next month and month after, you're going to see some very strong performance going into playoffs and championships.
Is it because you have too much time to cook and you overcook sometimes?
A little bit, although our overcooking did work when we picked Kaiser on stage.
True.
So, but yes, for sure, I think that things are messy right now. I think every game is often decided on a coin flip, but I think you'll see things begin to stabilize a bit more coming into the coming weeks.
All right, that sounds good. And now, when it comes to you guys playing BDS today, of course, they had a last-minute substitution with Aggressivo coming in. Does that change the way you prep at all?
Oh, it's awful. I'll be honest. Coming into this week, BDS is the main game we prep for. We had a lot of plans for Adam. We have a lot of champion picks picked. And obviously, this decision was made at 12 o'clock. He's sick, right? Like, if you're making a change, normally you make it last night. It's just unfortunate. Obviously, it throws off our prep a bit. But we've scrimmed our academy team has scrimmed their academy team a lot. So we're very, very familiar with the new top laner that's coming in. So.
All right, can't wait to see what you guys are cooking for today. Fidelan, thank you so much. Good luck in your game versus BDS. And Frankie, over to you.
Thank you very much, Trouble and Peter. Dun 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 dun. On to a serious note now. Team BDS are making a substitution for today's game versus Team Heretics. Aggressivo will sub in for Adam due to medical reasons, as tweeted by the team earlier today. Now, Aggressivo, this is not his LEC debut. You might remember him from summer last year on the main BDS roster. He has been playing on their academy roster this season, and also he did play with Misfits in 2021. But he's not Adam.
No, and I think, like, especially coming off of yesterday's game where Adam was like so influential around the map, coming up with like roams down to fight around the objectives. The one team fight where he sniped out the Zaya, it was just so impressive from him. So this obviously changes the way BDS play a lot, because a staple of their gameplay is how much roaming that their top laner does do. So this is going to make it a little bit harder whether or not they're calling for that, because I think Adam himself was the guy that was initiating a lot of those roams down for Drake.
Yeah, I think I would have to make a bet as well in terms of what we can expect for today coming out from BDS. It's probably just looking at, if we can get Cassandra, great, we're putting Aggressivo on that. If not, we're looking at a potential Sion. Anything that can be a front line so you can put more resources into Crowny and just make the game easier for him. I feel like that's the easiest bandage when you have a situation that BDS has today.
What are you expecting from Heretics? As Peter said, this is a difficult situation for them. They've prepped the most for this particular match, and now the game plan potentially has gone out the window.
Yeah, well, I guarantee, Peter, that it's probably more difficult for BDS than it is for him, I'll be honest. But I think, like, you can't change much anyway. Like, if anything, it'd probably make the game easier for you, that you don't have to take care of all these weird picks that usually would come out from Adam. And as he said himself, they have scrimmed the academy teams because they also have their own, and of course so does BDS. And because of that, they have a decent read on Aggressivo as well and what he brings to the table.
All right. Well, let's find out what happens. We should say welcome back, Aggressivo, to the LEC, and good luck to both of these teams as we head over to Medic and Kajal, aka K-Dick.